The ocean's surface may seem familiar, a vast blue expanse that mirrors the sky above. But beneath this shimmering veil lies a world of extraordinary complexity and vibrant life, a realm entirely governed by the sun. This is the epipelagic zone, or the sunlit zone, extending from the surface down to about 200 meters. Here, sunlight penetrates the water with enough force to power a world teeming with activity. It is a place of immense energy, where the warmth of the sun fuels countless interactions and sustains a staggering diversity of creatures. From the smallest plankton to the largest whales, life flourishes in this golden layer. In the shallows, vast underwater forests of kelp reach upwards towards the light, their long fronds swaying gently with the ocean's currents. These magnificent structures provide food and shelter for a multitude of animals, from tiny sea snails grazing on their leaves to playful sea otters that wrap themselves in the kelp to rest. Nearby, sprawling meadows of seagrass carpet the seafloor, acting as vital nurseries for young fish and other marine life. These plant-based ecosystems are the cornerstones of coastal habitats, creating complex three-dimensional worlds where countless species can hide, hunt, and raise their young, all thanks to the reliable daily bath of sunlight. Further from the shore, we find perhaps the most dazzling displays of life in the sunlit zone, the coral reefs. These are the bustling cities of the sea, built over thousands of years by tiny coral polyps. Each polyp secretes a limestone skeleton, and together they construct immense, intricate structures that become home to a quarter of all marine species. Parrotfish crunch on coral, clownfish nestle within the stinging tentacles of anemones, and sharks patrol the reef's outer edges. This incredible busyness, this explosion of color and form, is all made possible by the sunlight that nourishes the symbiotic algae living within the corals themselves. This upper layer is also where we humans make our presence known. We dive into its depths to witness its beauty, marveling at the fish that swim around us. We cast our nets and lines into its productive waters, relying on its abundance to feed our communities. Submarine cables, the arteries of our global communication network, lie across the seabed in this zone, connecting continents. We build our cities along its edges and sail our ships across its surface. The sunlit zone is not just a world apart, it is a world deeply intertwined with our own, a source of wonder, sustenance, and connection. As one descends from the surface, the world begins to change in the most fundamental way. The brilliant light that illuminates the shallows starts a slow, inexorable retreat. Water is far denser than air, and it acts as a powerful filter. It scatters and absorbs the sunlight, stripping it of its energy with every meter of depth. At just a few meters down, the change is already noticeable. The light loses its harshness, becoming softer and more diffuse. The shimmering patterns on the surface fade into a gentle, overarching blue. This is the beginning of a journey into a world defined not by what is present, but by what is lost. Color, which is simply a reflection of light, is the first thing to vanish. The spectrum of sunlight is not absorbed evenly. The longest wavelengths, the reds, oranges, and yellows, are the first to be filtered out by the water. A red fish or a piece of red coral seen at 20 meters deep will no longer appear red. Instead, it will look a dull, muted gray or black, as there is no red light left at that depth to reflect back to our eyes. This is why the underwater world so quickly takes on its characteristic blue and green hues. These are the shorter wavelengths of light, which penetrate much deeper into the water column. This gradual disappearance of color has a profound impact on the animals that live here. Many creatures use color for communication, for camouflage, or to warn predators. In the upper reaches of the sunlit zone, brilliant patterns are common. But as we go deeper, survival strategies must change. Animals may rely more on bold patterns of silver and black, using counter shading, a dark back and a light belly, to blend in with the dark depths below, and the brighter surface above. Color becomes less about vibrant display and more about the simple, stark contrast of light and shadow in a world that is slowly fading to monochrome. By the time we reach 150 meters, the world has become a deep, sapphire twilight. The warmth of the surface is gone, replaced by a growing chill. The light is now too weak to support the lush seagrass meadows or the towering kelp forests we saw in the shallows. Only the most robust and efficient forms of life can continue to harness the sun's dwindling energy. The vibrant, bustling world of the surface seems a distant memory, replaced by a quieter, more mysterious realm. We are approaching a profound boundary, where the rules of life are about to change completely. In the vast open ocean of the sunlit zone, where there are no seagrass beds or kelp forests, life depends on something much, much smaller. These are the phytoplankton, microscopic single-celled organisms that drift in the upper layers of the water. Like plants on land, they perform photosynthesis, using the sun's energy to convert carbon dioxide and nutrients into organic matter. Though individually invisible to the naked eye, they exist in such colossal numbers that they form the very base of the entire marine food web. They are the great pastures of the open ocean, the foundation upon which everything else is built. These tiny life forms are responsible for producing at least half of the oxygen in our planet's atmosphere. Every other breath we take, we owe to phytoplankton. They are consumed by zooplankton, which are themselves tiny animals, from minuscule crustaceans to the larval forms of crabs and fish. This marks the first step in a vast and complex food chain. The zooplankton are then eaten by slightly larger creatures, such as small fish like anchovies and sardines, or filter-feeding giants like the basking shark and the mighty blue whale. Energy, first captured from sunlight by phytoplankton, is transferred from one level to the next. This chain of consumption continues all the way up to the ocean's top predators. Tuna, dolphins, and seabirds all indirectly depend on the productivity of these microscopic drifters. When phytoplankton bloom in great clouds, visible even from space, they create feeding frenzies that draw in animals from miles around. The sheer abundance of life in the sunlit zone, the vast schools of fish, the pods of whales, the flocks of birds diving from above, is a direct testament to the efficiency of this simple yet powerful engine of life. It is a system of immense scale, all powered by the sun. But the influence of phytoplankton extends far beyond the animals that eat them directly. When these organisms die, or when they are consumed and excreted by other animals, they begin to sink. This process creates what is known as marine snow, a continuous slow-motion blizzard of organic particles drifting down from the sunlit waters into the darkness below. This rain of detritus is a vital lifeline. It is the primary source of food and energy for the creatures that live in the deep ocean, in the twilight and midnight zones where sunlight can never reach. The life of the deep is therefore forever tethered to the life of the surface. At a depth of 200 meters, we cross an invisible but critical boundary. This marks the lower edge of the sunlit zone and the beginning of the mesopelagic or twilight zone. Here, the last vestiges of sunlight are so faint that they are no longer sufficient for photosynthesis. For the world of plants, this is the end of the line. There are no more kelp, no more seagrass, and no more phytoplankton. From this point downwards, life can no longer create its own energy from the sun. It must instead rely on what trickles down from the productive world above or on hunting other creatures in the deepening gloom. The environment itself becomes more extreme. The pressure at 200 meters is about 20 times greater than at the surface, a force that would crush a human. The temperature, no longer warmed by the sun, has dropped significantly and will continue to fall as we descend further. This combination of darkness, pressure, and cold creates a highly selective environment. Only animals that have evolved specific adaptations to cope with these challenging conditions can survive here. Life becomes less about abundance and more about ingenuity and endurance in the face of scarcity. The creatures that inhabit this transitional space are masters of survival. Many, like the hatchetfish, have developed enormous tubular eyes that are pointed permanently upwards. These highly sensitive organs are designed to detect the faintest silhouettes of prey swimming against the dim light filtering down from the surface. A meal here is a rare opportunity, and spotting it is a matter of life and death. The world is now viewed not in full color, but as a collection of shadows and faint shapes moving in a vast three-dimensional hunting ground where the only point of reference is the disappearing light from above. As we move deeper into the twilight zone, the last of the sun's rays will vanish completely. The deep blue will fade to a permanent featureless black. Here, the rules change once more. Vision based on ambient light becomes useless. The strategies that worked in the sunlit world, or even in the upper twilight zone, are no longer sufficient. To navigate, to hunt, to find a mate, and to avoid being eaten in the total darkness, the inhabitants of this realm have had to develop an entirely new way of seeing. They have had to learn to create their own light. Between 200 and 1000 meters lies the Twilight Zone, a world of perpetual dusk that fades into complete blackness. With sunlight all but gone, a new source of illumination takes over: bioluminescence. This is the remarkable ability of living organisms to produce their own light through chemical reactions. In the crushing pressure and profound cold of this realm, light is not a gift from the sun, but a tool forged by life itself. It is estimated that over 90% of the creatures living in the Twilight Zone are bioluminescent. They flash and glow in the darkness, creating a silent, dazzling light show in the deep. This living light is used for a multitude of purposes, each a clever adaptation to the challenges of the dark. Some animals, like the anglerfish, use a luminous lure dangling in front of their mouths to attract unsuspecting prey. A small, curious fish drawn to the strange glow will find itself snapped up by a cavernous mouth filled with needle-sharp teeth. Other creatures use light for defense. The vampire squid, when threatened, can release a cloud of bioluminescent mucus, a startling burst of light and sticky sparks that confuses a predator, allowing the squid to escape into the blackness. Finding a mate in the vast, empty darkness is another immense challenge solved by bioluminescence. Many species have unique patterns of light-producing organs called photophores arranged along their bodies. These act like secret codes, allowing individuals to recognize members of their own species from a distance. A specific sequence of flashes or a particular arrangement of glowing dots can signal, well, I am here, and I am one of you. It is a silent language of light, essential for ensuring the continuation of life in this sparse and lonely world. Camouflage also takes on a new form here. Many fish and squid use a technique called counter-illumination. They have photophores on their undersides that produce a faint glow, carefully matching the intensity of the dim light filtering down from above. This effectively erases their silhouette, making them invisible to predators hunting from below. It is the ultimate form of camouflage in a world where hiding in shadows is paramount. From hunting and defense to courtship and concealment, bioluminescence is the thread that weaves together the fabric of life in the Twilight Zone. From the sun-drenched surface to the glowing twilight depths, the ocean reveals itself not as a single entity, but as a series of interconnected layers, each with its own distinct character and its own unique rules for survival. The journey downwards is a journey through changing worlds, where life has adapted with breathtaking ingenuity to ever-increasing challenges of pressure, cold, and darkness. The sunlit zone, powered by photosynthesis, is a realm of abundant production, a vibrant engine that fuels not only itself but the layers far below it. The Twilight Zone, in contrast, is a world of conservation and cunning. Here, Energy is not created, but scavenged from the marine snow that rains down from above, or it is taken by force through predation in the gloom. The adaptations we see here, the giant sensitive eyes, the dislocating jaws, and the widespread use of bioluminescence, are all responses to scarcity. Life in the Twilight Zone is a masterclass in efficiency, where every calorie is precious and every flash of light has a purpose. It is a testament to the tenacity of life, its ability to thrive in what we might consider the most inhospitable of conditions. Together, these zones form a complete and functioning system that is vital to the health of our planet. The sunlit zone produces oxygen and absorbs vast amounts of carbon dioxide, helping to regulate our climate. The Twilight Zone, with its enormous biomass of fish and squid, plays a crucial role in the biological pump, a process where carbon is transported from the surface to the deep ocean, where it can be stored for centuries. The daily vertical migration of countless animals between these zones connects them, mixing nutrients and energy throughout the water column. Every layer of the ocean, from the brightest to the darkest, is therefore precious. Each hosts unique forms of life and performs functions that are essential for the stability of the global ecosystem. Understanding this layered world, how light and energy flow through it, and how life has transformed in response to its gradients, is to understand the fundamental part of our living planet. The ocean's depths are not empty voids. They are living, breathing spaces, full of mystery, wonder, and life that is as important as